Oh, let's play Shapes 1.0 manufacturing mode. New game, manufacturer. It's interesting. There only seems to be one option here. So I'm assuming they're going to add some more options. Maybe 1.1. I'm guessing. So I imploded my vortex. The vortex is from the classic mode, now called the classic mode. It used to be the only mode. I'm going to play relax, so I don't have to worry about platforms or blueprint points for copying pasting. I find it more fun that way. You can do map generation, lots of options, and I think it's pretty fun to play with, but I'm going to leave that alone for this demo. And there are various challenges, which is pretty interesting. Okay, so I'm not playing with any of those. It is building the world. As usual, I will lie about spaghetti factories. My vortex overheated and imploded. I had one job and I didn't do it. Okay. Anyway, they're not unreasonable. They're willing to forgive and forget. And this waste gets created as people deliver stuff in the vortex. And someone's got to deal with it. Apparently, due to my mistakes, it's me. All right, so rather than having a vortex we deliver shapes to, we have a waste station giving us waste shapes. And it is my problem to deal with. They'll continue giving me a real sim. This feels like a real sim. In fact, it is a sim of sorts. All right, so this thing delivers a bunch of ports, as you see. And it delivers a full space belt worth of unpolished waste. So the first thing it wants us to do is just chop it in half and deliver it to a polisher. Now looking at the math, this thing is 60 and space belts are 480. So just to kind of get things going here, I'm going to drop this down here. That should be an entire space belt's worth for now. There's lights on the top here indicating throughput. I think they're all orange because there is no throughput because it's currently locked. Okay, and I forgot to cut them. So I have a bunch of starter things. I'll just say this once in the beginning of this video, I'm not detail oriented. I will make mistakes like this. And these are the platforms, and the platforms have various, they call them notches, is what people call them, but ports, notches. And a notch takes 1/4 of a space belt, and currently belts are 120. With upgrades, we can increase speeds. And therefore you need 3 cutters because cutters are 40. 120 divided by 40 is 3, so this is full rate. Oh, apparently it's okay with the fact it doesn't go through. I should have realized my mistake there. And this will very quickly climb up to 15. So because I played other games, I have a bunch of blueprints. I'm going to use those. I'll talk about the blueprints a little bit. I think in manufacturing mode, you might get blueprints from the start. If we look at our milestones here, I don't see any of these say blueprints. In classic mode, you have to unlock blueprints. Okay, so I have advanced to the first milestone. Milestone 0 is the ones you start with, and we now get rubies and we get trains. And by rubies, we get ruby stations. We are not yet making rubies, as you'll see later. And it gives you information in the codex, which is helpful. If you're kind of new to this game, I don't know why you're watching my video, because it's not too much of a tutorial. There's some great ones out there. But yeah, you'll have the space view and the machine view, and you can zoom in and out. And if you're in the machine view, you can do Shift Q and E to zoom out. The game is really nice in terms of the user interface for editing. All right, so anyway, while I'm yapping, I could have been deploying donation stations. And it now wants us to create Ruby stations. Now, if we go to our operator level, if we deliver this shape, we will get research points. So I think I'm going to do that first. These are delivering the half shapes we need for half of that operator shape, and I will pin it. That makes it a little easier. So we have half the shape, and you'll notice that we have the wrong half of the shape. So what we can do is we can rotate that. So I have a blueprint. We do 180-degree rotating, and that blueprint just does 2 rotates because I do not have the 180-degree rotator yet. I could be more efficient at this because these are outputting this outputs a half notch because it's 60, and if you look at these belts, you'll see they are 120. But I'm not too worried about platforms. It's just easy that way. So at some point we can deliver these or use them in place. I'll probably use them in place. And our shape preview should show that's correct. So what we need is a half wedge. So we'll go to our shape filter and we'll go scare us up some wedges. Hey, look at that. So this will not be optimal because I won't be able to deliver enough moment. I'll not be able to deliver enough of these to match that. I'll just deal with that later on. This is just a demo. I'll just make as many as I can. A little more math here. These have just 1 level, and so they produce 1 belt's worth of output. So what I have my extractor, miner, whatever they're called here, what I do is I just fork off the belts and go to the next level so that this delivers both levels. So when you just chain all these together, you don't have to worry about what's on what level. It just kind of balances out if you want to put it that way. So because this is a demo, I'm not going to worry too much about this. And we will deliver these here. And we can go ahead and set up a train. It's a pretty short distance. But just to kind of do this, so we need a shape loader. We'll need a stop for the train or it will not stop. We need some depots. I usually just do 4 for defaults. It's probably overkill here, but so now we need to stack. So I'm going to set up my stackers. I got 2 level stackers. And what I need here, one way to do this is just combine all these. It's just 1 space belt worth. And I'll make a little room here. And I don't know which way is which, like which stacks to the bottom, which stacks to the top. So I'm lazy, I'll just fix that later. So I can raise this up to the 2nd level. I can set up my wagon unloader. And well, there's a couple ways to do this. Running them here works pretty well. And run out our space belt. And we'll bring this here and we will do a vertical lift down. And then you can just copy and paste those. Oops. So hopefully that is delivering. Oops, I forgot these. And that will, you need the wagons or they will not deliver anything. Takes some few seconds to get going. And we're already in Shape Preview. I found Shape Preview doesn't always work normally because of something with trains I don't understand. It is actually happy with that shape. It's lit up in purple. And all we need to do is send these for research. And this donation station here will take a space belt worth. If you increase the speed of space belts, that thing will increase to match. So we should start getting our counts here. So that's working fine. Okay, now I got to figure out how many Ruby stations do I want. So I'll just lay down 4. What this is going to need is 60 in of full polished shapes and 60 in of a circle stacked on top of a square. So I would probably normally create more of these to plan out better for later game, like maybe 16. But I'll just say that and I'll just make 8 for now. Just for this demo, this is fine for now. Can go back and fix it, a little bit of a pain, but not too much. So this will take an entire space belt. That's what I care about. So we need something that looks a lot like this. And we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but this is taking full shapes, so we need to double that. So this can supply 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we need to like rotate and stack. Let's grab one of these rotators here. Oh, somehow. Oh, now it's delivering. Okay, I thought I made a mistake there. Okay, this should stack just fine. So now I will do some stacking. This is my stacker blueprint here. It's could be more efficient. Works for me. There's some crazy designs that people come up with that are really compact. I'm not the most compact designer. I'm going to delete this and see if it shows me. Oh, no, I need that. Okay. So these are coming out right. Shape preview is showing us everything is good. And there's 8 outputs, maybe more than we need. But so these, yeah, these are half rate. So if I had fed one of these with 2, or put it another way, if I had combined these and then done them a little more efficiently, I would have been able to feed one of these with like 4 of these. Okay. But I didn't, and I don't care for this demo. Just mentioning that that could have been more efficient. I did that wrong. Do I have like some that looks correctly pasted? And then it wasn't. All right, I don't know what dumb thing I was doing there, but it was dumb. So now we just need to have circles and squares. And we can claim our milestones. You won't lose anything if you don't claim those right away. So there's a circle here. Where's a square? So let me switch this to squares. R for square. I don't know, rectangle. Yeah, well, there's squares here, but I'm not in love with that. Man, you got to go a long way for some squares, eh? All right. So one thing I've done here is I have this multi-foundation folder for my blueprints. And I have like exactly enough shape extractors. So if we had 3 space levels, this would I got some glitchy stuff in my blueprint. All right. So the way I work this math out is if we had 3 space levels, it would take 3 of these to supply 1 notch on a space belt because they are splitting their output 3 ways. In a 3 level, right now it'd be 2, but that's my blueprints are set up for 3 level. All right. So then I also have space belts. Use the F key to flip. And two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That doesn't matter. I think that's correct. So two of these will require 2 loaders. So I'm just going to set up 2 loaders here. So a loader will hold a fair amount of shapes in a buffer. I don't know, somewhere around 12. And it will send 6 packets onto a train. If you're at 2 space levels, there will be 2 levels of packets. If you're at 3 space levels, you get 3 levels of packets. So the train will offload potentially. You could feed a train with different stuff on each of the 3 levels. Sometimes people do that. I don't. But I could see why it might come in handy, like for red, green, blue trains or something. All right, so you have each loader can basically consume one space belt of stuff. It just simply cannot unload faster than that, to the best of my knowledge. And trains load in, if this was full of shapes, I forget if it's like 30 seconds, but if it wasn't full of shapes, I think it's 45 seconds to load 6 packets. All right, so let's make some locos. So what I could do here, because I build this a lot using just the red locos and this and this. I could save this off to my trains blueprint here. Okay, so now this can be delivered all the way to circles for stacking purposes. So one thing I could do is I can kind of locate where circles are. It's sort of one of these sub-quadrants down from the quadrant top. So you'll see that's minus 2a. So we'll come all the way across here, but we'll go just to the blue line. See if I can do that. I'll often run my trains in the top. I can zoom out a little bit further. So that's minus 2a, 1 down. So that can help you navigate and while you're laying out rails. All right, well, that circle is really crap. I should have looked at that earlier. But for demo purposes, let's just use it. You'd really look for a better one than that. That's really not very good. Definitely will not supply an entire space belt. Well, I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. It's close. And because it's one space belt, it's just all I'm going to connect up here. You can do that. You can also do like this. Save you maybe just a little bit here, and then drop down and connect. Those lifters are pretty flexible that way. All right, so we're going to stack circles and squares. So we're going to need 4 stackers. So these are my basic page where I keep my basic stuff. Did I not? I need my starter. There, this is my starter, not my 3-level space build. And again, if you leave one little square there, you have room to drop them in from above. I like placing my loaders first. By the way, if you're ever like in this position, like here, let's see if this works. No. There are things that work one way for one thing and one. So if you put this thing too close here, then you put that there. That'll block. See, there's a little barricade. That you don't want that. You need a space there. And then that is. I feel like yeah, that's not quite right. Learning your hotkeys is pretty helpful. Editing. And then these can be copying and pasting, which is, I think, kind of nice. Okay, we should get previews. Now, as you see, it is unhappy with my previews. And that is because this thing is flipped. Like I said, I was being lazy if I said that. But if I hit F, it flips up and down. That's like a standard flip pattern. And if I hit rotate, it rotates. But if I just want to invert it, if I want to mirror it, let's call it, you can just do that. And now the problem's fixed without having to change anything else. So I'm kind of lazy. I should always try to remember like my stackers, like the left is the bottom and the right's the top, but I just don't. In fact, in this case, the left is the top and the right's the bottom. I guess I could save it. You could resave it if I wanted to make it the reverse. So I could go to my blueprint, paste it, and say, I really want the left. Oh, the left is the bottom. Okay, so that would be intuitive to me, maybe not to someone else. So it seems happy with my shapes. With the shape preview is great. And see, even zoomed out, it shows you. It's pretty nice when it works. I don't know why when it works, it doesn't work. So I can do this the hard way and run them all the way there. I like using trains because the developers told me in Discord that trains are more performance efficient in terms of using up your CPU power. It's actually, I made a blueprint for that. See, I think it's almost slower to find the blueprint, but and then I have to orient it, but different ways to do the same thing. So now we just need to drop our circle and square on top of there. I don't know where that needs to go. That's why sometimes it helps just place the loader first. So what I should probably do is come here, know I need to be there, run the belts. I need one square to run the belts on, and then one square to drop. So if I do that, it's probably the smart way to do it. And then run down there. And then C will anchor and allow you to turn. The game can often just turn for you without the anchor command, but sometimes it's easier to use the anchor and sometimes you just need it. And green is showing up, so it's quite happy with that. And am I delivering? Yes, I am indeed delivering circles on top of squares. So right now these are showing locked. They're not delivering rubies, and you'll see I have to actually unlock the milestone, the next milestone. So even though we have the rubies and trains milestone, we don't deliver or output rubies, I should say, until we do that. So when I click this and I click unlock, I'm going to get sapphires, sapphire station. It's interesting, it says sapphire unlock, sapphire station, sapphire station, sapphire station. I just find it a little confusing because you don't actually get rubies until you unlock the next level. Prove me wrong. Because now we're actually getting rubies now that we unlock the milestone for sapphire. So that's just a bit of demo. So basically when I would further, I now get sapphires, and down the road I get these, some people are calling them exotics. I call them gems. But the sapphire will actually, and I can show you this here. This takes 60 per minute, just like this outputs 60 per minute. However, you need, let me see. Oh, maybe not. I thought you needed to, that these were half outputs and you needed to stack them. But it actually looks like you can supply 8 sapphire stations or an entire space belt worth from just the rubies. Maybe it's the next layer that works different. So while you're placing these, you probably want to think a little bit about the placement. What I was doing in my previous save was kind of running them along like that and just lining them up. And then you could get in a little more tightly, but you start running into a little more. it's good to have some space for running like trains above and unloaders above. Because if I start placing my unloaders here, so they'll go here and that will be fine, but these things will become more demanding. They'll need more inputs. But you see, I am not delivering the shape it requires. So it's not asking for, well, it is. Okay, it's asking for rubies. But I will also need to supply blue squares, which is easy. You just paint your squares. And then this will produce the next gem and so on. And all these are a little different shaped, and increasing amount of inputs are needed, and whether or not they're outputting half shapes and whether or not you need to stack them for the next level. Those are kind of the variations you'll see. Probably when you get to the end game, 8 is maybe not what you want, like 1 space belt worth. Maybe you want more. I'd say just because you get to, well, if we go here and look at the milestones here. We get around here for what, painite and crystals. So up to then, you're roughly able to supply every new set of stations from the previous station in one-to-one in various ways. But at some point, that kind of breaks down with painite. But anyway, yeah, so I don't know. I guess if I was starting anew knowing what I knew and this one's just a demo, I would have done like 16 of those. All right, well, that's all I have for the demo. Thanks for watching.